Hello, welcome to this talk. My name is Ellie Kim and I'm your host. To those of you listening on Life on Pointe Radio on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anything like that, I just want to welcome you to Life on Pointe Radio, and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And for those of you who are on my Facebook page right now on 818 Business Consulting, I am so grateful that you guys are able to tune in today, and so you will probably be able to see my face. And if you're watching from YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. And we are just taking a whole new approach on content creation over here at Life on Pointe. I have grown exceptionally busy as of late, and a lot of people keep on asking me, how do I keep up with everything? And what am I doing? And what do you do? And how do you stay sane? And so I am going to just be talking quite a bit about what it is that I do. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my tips. So here on Life on Pointe Radio, this segment, we're going to have different segments on our podcast. And we're just going to talk a little bit about everything. And so this one is the 818 Talk, which is derived from my consulting business. So I'm going to just introduce myself and give you guys a bit of an idea on who I am and what I do, the reason why I do it, what we're going to be covering in the 818 business chats, and just how I got into business to begin with and all of that. So so a little bit about me is my name is Ellie Kim. I am 20 years old. I am turning 21 in the summertime. And so I've done quite a bit in my 20 years of life, and a lot of people kind of laugh at me when I say that, but I've done quite a bit, and I manage quite a bit. So my parents are pastors of a church called Renaissance. And yes, before people start guessing, I am a Christian. I love Jesus. I am so just passionate about my faith. And honestly, if I didn't have faith or something to believe in, I probably would not be where I am currently. And so I am also a business owner, a professional ballet dancer. I'm a teacher, a blogger, administrator for a organization. I am a director. I am all things and more. And so really, I am just, a 20-year-old girl in Bakersfield, California. I'm half Korean, half white, and I love my life. And to say that now as a 20-year-old is kind of crazy for me, because 2 years ago, a year ago even, I did not like my life at all, and I was not okay with where I was at. I was not in the best of places, and really I decided one day that I was going to wake up and stop being a victim, and stop being a victim of my own emotions, stop being a victim of my own fears. And so I decided to get a life coach, and going through life coaching is one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. It has helped me so much with my family dynamics, with my friendship dynamics, with my relationship dynamics. And it is one of the best things that I could ever recommend to you, especially if you're a busy person. And so that's a bit about me. And a lot of people ask me, this is my frequently most asked question, and I cannot figure out a way to kind of just share what I do in 30 seconds or less, because I just do so much. And excuse the audio. We are currently working on it. And we also I'm filming at my office and recording at my office. And of course, when you need to film or record something, someone in the background starts drilling something. So I apologize for any background noise. We are going to perfect this at some point in time. But a lot of people ask me what I do. And so, I do a number of different things. I am a professional ballet dancer. I've been a professional ballet dancer for 4 years, which is so crazy. Right? 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 4 years. I was signed on with 2 companies in my first year of being a professional ballet dancer. And I am still kind of figuring that all out in a way. I am a freelance professional, so I do still perform and do shows. And obviously with COVID-19, that kind of took a hit to the dance world. And so I've been dancing for 15 years and in total. And I have, gone to some of the best summer programs, American Ballet Theater. I did some at my home studio in Los Angeles. I did not live in Los Angeles, but it was one of my home studios. And I worked with Philip Pegler, who we'll be having on the podcast soon, but he is a ballet master and a very successful one at that. And so he is now a very dear friend of mine. And so, and now I am a ballet teacher. So I have taught for UCLA. I have taught for Kern Dance Alliance. And currently I am a teacher for Mallory Academy of Dance. And so I also teach online through my Life on Pointe community, and I started Life on Pointe in 2016, so that was a long time ago. So I am a blogger. I blog about ballet, lifestyle, and business, especially when I got more heavily into business. I started talking a little bit more about that. And the thing with professional dancers is that ballet, or any art form really that's maybe not acting, or if you do not get picked up overnight as a pop star in a sense, you don't really make a lot of money. And so I always knew as a young dancer in pursuing a professional career in ballet specifically, that I wasn't going to make a ton of money. And I have had professional ballet dancers who I've conversed with who have had to take on second jobs and all different kinds of things in second companies and things like that. And so really in the dance world, it's not one of the professions that makes a lot of money. It's, you could probably it's probably livable if you're a single person with roommates and things like that, but not really what I was looking for financially wise. And so because this was a dream of mine, I was so lucky that I have parents who are very supportive of my dreams. And so this is, talking about this is how I actually got started in business. So I was a dancer, or I am a professional ballet dancer, but I started getting really serious about it. And then I started blogging, and blogging really gave me this creative outlet to kind of just film videos and talk about things I loved and talk about dance. And so I started Life on Pointe, which at the time, this phrase, on point was, that's on point, was such a huge phrase at the time. And I'm not sure if a whole lot of people still use it now, but almost everybody that I was around, whether it was at church or friends or dance, everyone would talk about how on point things are. And so I decided to start Life on Pointe, and I decided at that time that it was going to be strictly about dance and the behind the scenes of what dance looks like, the making of a professional ballet dancer. And thank God I made it somewhat to a degree. And I did make it there. I was able to show a little bit about what the behind the scenes looks like, and I was very raw and vulnerable and real about it. And then I became an adult and I became in a professional company, and I may not have made the wisest decisions. And so I had to suffer some of the consequences as far as showing the behind the scenes and talking about stuff that I knew needed change in the dance world. And so my timing was probably a little bit off in talking about those things. But later on, specifically in 2020, I decided that I was going to use my platform to reinvent dance culture. And so that was a big thing, especially as I became a teacher. I realized that I had the opportunity to reinvent the dance culture with the next generation of dancers. And so I decided to apply for my teaching degree with the Royal Academy of Dance and the University of Bath. And so after 2 years of applying, I got in. And so this September, I'm actually starting. And so it's been a crazy, crazy life. And in all the middle of all of that, I started my business. And so I own 2 businesses, and I started both around the same time. One is a product brokerage company with my business partners. And then I have Ellie Rose Services, which is a service business. And it really stemmed from the fact that I was a jack of all trades. And so I always thought to myself, I really don't like that phrase, jack of all trades and a master of none, because I wanted to be a master at something. And so my heart was to do everything I ever did with the exceptional amount of excellence that I could pour into it. And so I am a big believer in excellence. I'm a big believer in no matter what you're doing, whether you're the janitor or you are the CEO or the one making all the decisions, if you hold the power, no matter what you are doing, do it with excellence always. And so I applied that. I was taught that by my parents. And so I applied that to everything I did. So I started my business and I learned a lot. And thankfully, my Ellie Rose service business took off when I moved to Los Angeles for the ballet company. And by morning, I was ballet dancer. I would dance for about 6 to 8 hours a day. And then straight after, I would go clean houses. I would go do all different types of things. I would administrate. So I had administrative services. I had housekeeping services. I had childcare services. I had an array of services, and to put it lightly. And so my most popular one was house cleaning. And people they were really attracted to the way that I did things. I believe that it was because of the excellence that I poured into everything. And I got to really build relationship with some of these people. And so I have one building. I still get calls from them to this day. There was a building in Los Angeles, a apartment, kind of like a house apartment in downtown Los Angeles. I had started cleaning for one couple that I did know over there, and my business just took off from there. And so I gave the front desks one flyer, and they made copies, and they started handing it out to all of their tenants. And so I had probably about 8 to 10 clients just at that building alone. And so it made it really easy, because if I needed to do a full day of cleaning, I could go to that one building and I would just, go to the different floors and all of that stuff. And so it was really good, and it got me by. And I had help from my parents during that time. And so it was a huge thing. And then when COVID hit, obviously everything kind of changed. I was taking a break from dance. Actually, I just made the decision to take a break from dance because of my mental health state and my emotional state. And so I took a step back from dance, and I picked up freelance teaching. So I would teach, especially when COVID hit, I started teaching on Zoom quite a bit. And that's when I taught for UCLA and Current Dance Alliance. And so, I just went for it, and I really honed in on what I wanted to do with Life on Pointe. And so we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary in April, which is so exciting. And I'm so grateful for everything I've learned during that time. And so while I was in the professional company, and as I was building relationships with all of these tenants at this building, and I met a guy who was in the permit expediting business. And so he needed administrative help. And so his administrator had just moved. And so I did that. So I started off by cleaning his apartment, and then he asked me to do meal prep for him because he was so busy. And so I would go to his house, I would cook. At the time, he had no pots and pans, so I would go do his shopping, bring it back to my house, cook, and then put it in containers and put it in his fridge. And I think he gave me a key to his apartment. And so I worked with him for about a year, and he was a permit expediting CEO. And so he had a couple of partners that we also worked with. And so basically he needed his business to kind of get organized and kind of lined up. And so that's what I did. I recreated the infrastructure for that, and I became the executive assistant for this permit expediting company. And my job description, I didn't even know what permit expediting was. I had no idea, and he literally gave me a crash course in 2 hours on what I was supposed to do. And the next week he sent me with these 20-pound plans and said, go to city of LA. And I ended up meeting with city officials, including the mayor. I attended plan check meetings, building check meetings. I did certain photography things. I would correspond with our building partners. And I would go to a lot of events for networking with these builders and permitters and business people. And so I got to learn a lot of good networking skills, and I got very good at putting on a face. And it was so funny. It's just 2 years ago, but it feels like a whole other lifetime ago. And I would go to dance in the mornings, and then I would go clean houses, and then I would borrow their bathrooms, and I would go to my car and have I don't know if any of you have seen Crazy Rich Asians, but Awkwafina's character has all these different garment bags in her car, and that was literally my life. I would, depending on what I had going on that night, I would have an extra set of like 3 different types of outfits to wear, so that I could be presentable for every occasion. And I got really good at just being on the go and living my life on the go. And then I also did some things recreating the infrastructure of a business for dance studios. I did social media management and marketing for individuals, consultants, and businesses. And so I learned a lot as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old. And actually 19, I wasn't 20 yet. I was 18, 19. And so, and then 2020 came along, and I went through a lot in that season, but that season was a really great year for me. A lot of people were affected by COVID, and it was exceptionally horrible for some of the people that I love most. But for me personally, it was probably one of the most fruitful years that I've ever had. My business was the best it's ever been. I was working on projects left and right. I was getting hired for projects left and right. And so an opportunity came along for me to help my dad, work with my dad. And what's so funny is that when I was younger, I always promised myself I would never work with my dad because, at the time he liked things a certain way. And because of the way he works, which is also out of excellence and things like that, I was afraid that I would never meet his standards. And so I just made a deal with myself and said I wouldn't work with him. And so we weren't sure how it was going to go. And basically what happened was, to not give so many details, we had an opening and I became the administrator for his school-like program. And so I started running that, and I just ran with it. And me and my dad have a great working relationship. We find ourselves to be very similar in the way that we run things. And the way my dad works is very much in the sense of, here's the vision, make it happen. And And so he's been able to kind of release quite a bit to me. And so I feel honored to have that responsibility. And during COVID, me and my mom started a business podcast. Me and my mom are also business partners. But she and I started a business podcast called Boss Chats. And so we started going after it. And we had all different types of business owners come on and chat with us and talk with us about what it takes to run a successful business. And so I started to really get passionate. And so then I just started to get really passionate about my business. And I was getting passionate about business, and then I was working with her, and but it just didn't feel like the right timing. It felt like I was lacking quite a bit of knowledge and confidence, and quite frankly, I know, looking back now, I know I was lacking the attitude that it took to have a successful business. And I knew that I was not willing to make the sacrifices necessary to have a successful business at that time. And so I laid down the business. I took a step back from the business that I have with my business partners. I still worked it. I still did like kind of the bare minimum, but I decided that I was going to take a step back from actually building out. And which, was good for me. And that's when I ended up getting a job with my wonderful dance family at Mallory Academy of Dance as a dance teacher. And so I joined them. COVID hit my family, and we got back up and we bounced back. And thankfully, we are all perfectly okay. But yeah, I mean, I do that. And then on top of all that, I'm currently the director for our children's program at our church. And I do a lot. My Instagram, by the way, if you want to follow me, is the Ellie Way. And in my bio, there's not enough characters in my bio to share what I do. And so I just put in my bio tagline, I have a lot going on. And which is completely true. And so if I show you my calendar right now, I would show you. But it's crazy. Everything is just so crazy. And so a lot of people ask me about time and time management. And so that I do consider myself an expert in time management. I say that because I've had to learn how to lead a busy life. And I just want to say this. If you're leading a busy life with no purpose, then why are you busy? There's no reason for you to be busy without a purpose. And I feel like a lot of us, because society says it's good to be busy, society says that busy is, means you're killing it in life. Not necessarily. If there's no results, then you're not really killing it in life, are you? And so that was kind of my thought process, especially getting into school. And I'm in a long-term relationship with the man that I love. And I really started to think about our future. And with everything that happened in 2020, it really just made me realize that nothing is certain. Nothing is truly sustainable. Nothing is truly, what's the right word? There's not much security in life, and and because I realized that, I was looking for a way to find the motivation I needed to pick back business up again. And so some things happened recently, and when I say recently, I mean a month ago, where I took a step back in my life, and I really looked and I thought to myself, am I doing everything that I know I could be doing? Am I maximizing my time the way I know I should be doing? Am I doing everything I can to set up myself for success for a long-term life? And I realized that I wasn't. And, being 20 years old, looking for sustainability and security, a 9-to-5 job is not going to give you security. You can get fired very easily. And, I am a type A personality. And so not everybody does agree with the things that I say or the way that I do things. And I tend to be a strong personality in the business field, in the working environment. And people are very easily offended by me, especially in the working environment if they're not used to, if they don't have the same goals as me, because I am very much a goal-oriented person, and I know that I'm going here. And if you want to come with me, you better keep up. If you don't, you're going to fall behind. And, and I know that's, it sounds harsh, but in a way, especially for business, you need to have that mindset of my time is valuable. My time is worth something. I have something worth offering to you, and it's your job to accept it, and it's your job to implement it, and it's your job to do something with it. And so that is why I just started really looking at my life, and I was looking for sustainability. I was looking for security, and my boyfriend's a pilot. And so recently we've been talking about seriously, obviously we've been serious, but seriously looking at the future of our life, especially with me moving to England in 2 years. And he is a pilot in training. And so we've just been looking at all these different, things, and we've been looking and seeing what's on the news, where even a job as demanding as, flying an airplane, because airlines is quite a demanding, it's in demand. It's a necessity for most people. And even that, people are getting laid off, people are getting fired, people are getting, it's not sustainable. And so it really made me think, especially since it's such a, it's a promising career to be a pilot. And so career-wise, we were just thinking about it, and I really realized, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to successfully set myself up for a good, solid life, and to be able to do all the things that I want to do as far as philanthropy goes, I need to be willing to make the sacrifices in the short term to set myself up for the long term. And it really came about that there was all these different things happening amongst my friend group and family. And I just realized, I was like, you know what? The world is so much bigger than me. And do I really want my kids to grow up in a world where they have to fear that the government is not going to take care of them, or because the economy is constantly changing, can they get in and be safe, and can they find security? And so for me, I'm very much a person that needs to lead by example. I will find motivation if I am leading by example. If I'm leading people, that's where I find my motivation. And some people might say that's a bit arrogant, but to be honest, I and maybe it is, but at this point in my life, I find that it is my drive. It's why I live, because I love helping people. I love leading people, and I love people. I used to think I don't like people. I hate everybody. And that was my very angsty, young mindset, immature mindset, and was, I hate everybody. And so I really had to figure out, okay, am I doing exactly what I should be doing right now? Am I doing the best that I can? And I realized that I wasn't. And so I really started diving back into building my business with some partners. And I'm telling you, I was 1 week in, and I experienced a life change. Like, I know it sounds so crazy, but my attitude changed, my confidence changed, my knowledge changed, the way that I presented myself as a business person changed. And the thing about being young, especially as a business person, the hardest part is knowing that you have something to offer, and a lot of people will write you off because you are young. And I don't know if I have any young business people viewers, but if that's the case, you got to keep moving, because the one person, the people that will see that you're worth investing in, and the people that see the value of you and who you are and how confident you are and your attitude to the way that you do things, those are going to be the people that will run with you for the rest of your life. And you don't want short-term runners anyway. I mean, I used to think that, oh, if I can just get like somebody on short-term, even if they, it'll give me time to find the long-term person, which in some cases is true. But you want to find those long-term people. And so, so I started going into this deep dive, and I work with a partner. He is the executive vice president of sales, and he is a multimillionaire. And I just started getting plugged into what he's doing, and I'm so lucky that he was able to kind of accept me and bring me some mentorship. But I'm telling you, the difference between getting mentored by somebody who is kind of so-so and doesn't have a lot of confidence and maybe is not quite as consistent is very different. And you begin to become like the people you are around. You become the people that you surround yourself with. And so, I realized, I've been given the power to create wealth. Why am I not utilizing this power? The world is this, yes, it's very unstable, and society seems like it's crumbling, and there's all these things, but I've been given the power to change that, make a small change. Small change as it is still change. And for me, I realized I'm 20 years old looking for sustainability and security in this ever-changing world, in this ever-changing economy. I got to create my own economy. And so I started to do this dive into what does it mean to build your own economy. I really began to look into what does it look like to create my own economy. And so I'm so lucky that our business that I'm in, my business partners that I'm in relationship with and all these things, they're good people. They're incredible. They know what they're doing. And I have the opportunity to be mentored and mentor people. I mean, I love mentoring people. I know that it takes a lot of work, but I love teaching. I am a teacher at heart. I love seeing people succeed, and I love believing in people and watching them begin to believe in themselves. And to be honest, like I didn't feel like I had a whole lot of people that believed in me. I mean, my parents, by God, they believed in me. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. They thought of me every day, and they would think, I believe in her. I believe she can do it. And so I'm so blessed that I have parents like that. But when it's your parents, sometimes you don't always see their good intentions. Sometimes you don't always see their thought processes. Sometimes you don't always get what they're saying, And my boyfriend, before he and I started dating, he was such a great friend. We were kind of almost acquaintances in a way, but long story short, he believed in me. And he, when I was in a horrible place, he would talk to me and take the time out of his day to listen intently and like actively listen and genuinely give his advice and his 2 cents, and it was always amazing, and it was always life-changing. And so that's what led me to get a life coach so that I could get my life together. But I love that giving people the power to create wealth, like showing them what that looks like, showing people how to create their own economy, that's so beyond what people are doing nowadays. And again, like in order to set yourself up for success, you have to be willing to sacrifice the short term for the long term, for your long term. And you have to be willing to sacrifice in the short term to build out your long term, because if you do that, you will be successful. And I'm realizing this, and I'm just like, my mind is being blown every day. The more and more I feed my mind and my passion for business. And my passion for business is not to make money. Like, I know that sounds so oxymoronic, ironic. Of course, I'm in a business to make money. Yes, that is the goal, but that's not the end goal for me. That's a monetary progress report for me. And yes, it brings me sustainability. It gives me a lifestyle that I can create for myself, which is amazing. But my passion for business stems from my heart to help people. And so when I was when I was consulting for businesses in 2019 and working as an executive assistant and working with executives and all these things, I realized that I have all the tools to have a successful business, because everything I'm saying to these people is proving me right in a way. And it wasn't about being right. It was just, hey, let's experiment. Like, here's this idea. Let's try it out. If it doesn't work, cool. If it works, then we'll keep it. And so everything that I would implement into these businesses were like proven, sustainable actions that created success. And so I realized, man, I got to stop making the excuse that it's so much harder to work for yourself than to work for somebody else. I mean, because it is true. It is so much harder to do budget and finances for yourself. It's so much harder to do that. It's so much easier to do it for someone else and be like, well, that ain't my problem. Thank the Lord. But when I look at like all the administrative stuff that I have to do for my dad's school, for instance, I do it with joy. And then I do it with my business. And I think to myself, oh God, I hate my life. But I had to get out of that mindset. And I broke out of that mindset and I said, no, I'm not going to do this. If I'm going to create my own economy, I need to discipline myself. I need to get over my bad self. I need to be willing to sacrifice in the short term for the long term. And I just, life got real for me. And especially when I got into school, realizing that, I'm going to move away. I'm not, to a whole other country, mind you. I'm going to be, going to school. I'm not going to be able to work a whole lot. And, me and my boyfriend aren't quite sure when we're going to get married. We're not quite sure when, what we want to do. We are taking our time with that. And, as we should, because marriage is a huge decision. But, there's no security. And when you don't have that security, you got to create something for yourself, right? And so I started to realize, okay, I've been given all the tools to make a successful business. I've been given the power to create wealth because I own 2 businesses, like, hello. And, I'm exploring the idea of like when my service business, when I move to England, maybe I won't, I won't be the head of Ellie Rose Services, but maybe I can sell the business and I can sell the business idea to somebody else so that they can go have the power to create wealth for themselves. And so I have 2 businesses, and I know that one of them is definitely going to be much more sustainable than potentially Ellie Rose Services. And so because of that, I've really realized, I'm like, okay, I need to be disciplined and I need to have the right attitude. I need to have the knowledge. I need to value my time. I need to be a time practitioner. And, I need to be an expert in time management because I am doing so much and I am going to drown if I don't do this. And so I have learned that society is going to tell you what to do. Society is going to make the trends and be like, you need to do this, and this is the best thing to do, and this is what Forbes magazine says, this is what all the celebrities are doing. God, who cares? That's what works for them. That may not be what works for you. And so my goal as a business consultant, especially with 818 business consulting, my goal is to help you identify what you've been given and make it into wealth, make it create wealth, because I believe everyone's been given the power to create wealth. But the question is, are you using that power? And so, society has changed, the economy has changed, the world we know has changed, and with each up and coming generation, and every time someone is born, there's another element of change, and so I started to really figure out, okay, what does it mean to build your own economy? Building my own economy for me is not just creating my own wealth, which is a huge part of it. Number one, create your own wealth. Number two, have the right attitude. Your attitude sets you up for everything else. Your attitude is the most important thing. Your attitude, your approach to life, whether you're positive or negative, who are you attracting? Who are the people in your life? I had this guy, actually, he's one of my friends, and I had this guy that I put something out on social media regarding health, and ever like really when I bring up business type stuff with him, he's always extremely negative. And so I just realized, I was like, you know what? If you're going to be negative, I can't be friends with you. I can't be around you. Maybe in a few years when I am past all this, but I cannot afford to cost me my peace. I cannot afford to cost my positivity because someone else is trying to influence me with their negativity. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I do have these hard conversations with my friends. I mean, I'm lucky where my friend group, we are very honest with each other and we tell it like it is. And so if I tell them you're being negative and I can't be around you if you're going to be like this, I know that either they're going to change or, hey, that might be a lost friendship for right now. But the reality is that I need to know, what is the cost of some of the important things in life? What is the cost of my time? What am I selling for my time? What am I trading? People trade time for money all the time, and we trade ridiculous amounts of time for a ridiculously minute amount of money. And so for me, creating my own economy looks like, hey, we're going to create an environment that is can-do attitude, as cheesy as it is. That is can-do attitude. That is, we can do this. That is, we're going to go for it. That is, positive, where our attitude is right, where our mind is right, where we're open to learn and be teachable and coachable, where we are looking at the trends and seeing what lasts and seeing what doesn't, where we're being smart, when we're working smart and not so hard. Because the reality is, I want a family. That's one of my dreams, is to be a mom, to have a family, to be a good wife. That's my dream. And I can't do that if I am working 40 hours a week. I can't be the mom that I want to be if I'm working 40 hours a week. I definitely can't be the wife I want to be if I'm a mom and working 40 hours a week. And so I just realized, it's time to make a change. And so I am going to be helping you in my 818 business consulting group. It is on Facebook, and it will be linked in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it will be linked down below. And if you're in the group already, welcome. We are going to learn how to create our own economy, our own environment that is going to be sustainable for us. And my goal is to help you identify what you've been given and make it create wealth for you, because everyone, including you, have been given the power to create wealth. The question is, what are you doing to create it? Are you using that power? And so I want you guys to let me know, what are some of your takeaways. Get on Instagram, get on Facebook. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. And definitely if you're watching or if you're listening on this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, feel free to just leave me a comment. Definitely rate this podcast, subscribe to Life on Pointe Radio if this is where you're listening, and let's do it, guys. Let's move forward. Let's get out of this rut. Let's go. The upcoming things that we're going to be talking about is time management and time value. We're going to be talking about the sustainability movement. We're going to be talking about the cost. We're going to be talking about sacrifice. The only way forward is through overcoming fear and obstacles. We're going to be talking about what's going on with trending businesses, and we're also going to be talking about goal setting and so much more. So thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this, be sure to give it a like, smash the thumbs up button, give me some comments. Go ahead, and if you're listening, go ahead and rate and review this podcast, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. I'm so grateful for you guys, and let's go create our own economy together. Cheers.